Alright, hello, and welcome to video number 3 of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Sometimes referred to under terms like the game from hell, or, or the game Nintendo regrets, which I think is complete horse manure. Nintendo regrets making this game so much, huh? Well, who was it that made that? Well, I won't even mention them by name because they might have been joking when they did that, and I just didn't get the gag. So I won't mention the person by name, but yeah. Many years ago, there was a whole YouTube video about that, how this person said that Nintendo regrets making Zelda 2, that it was such a commercial failure, blah, blah, blah. You know, so, I mean, again, the person who made that video may very well have been joking, but to anyone who actually thinks that seriously, for one, you may not like the game, but that doesn't mean Nintendo regrets making it. If they did, why would it be on the Wii, the 3DS virtual consoles? I think the Wii U too. That's 3 virtual consoles. The Switch NES Online, the NES Classic Mini. That's 5 re-releases in the last 13 years. If Nintendo so direly regretted making this game, they wouldn't have re-released it once. Like, well, I was going to say like Milan Secret Castle, but I don't think that was a Nintendo-made game, so that was a third-party game, but yeah. Get real, people. And as for the part about it being a commercial failure back then, dude, the game sold over 4 million copies in the 1980s. You get a game that sells that many copies back then, it's far from failure, my friends. How many games sold that many copies back then? Very few. You know, like most Mario games did. Well, I still say the final sales receipts of the first Mario game were based largely on the fact that it was a pack-in with the bundle for the bundle pack with the console itself from 1987 on. The combo cartridge with Mario and Duck Hunt. So I don't think when they say this first Super Mario Brothers game sold over 40 million copies, I don't think they take that into account. I don't think the cartridge in and of itself sold that many. Just as the Nintendo picked up in sales, people who bought an NES got Mario Brothers with their new system. So, but anyways, point being, you know, maybe today you can say a game that sold 4 million when a popular game sells much more than that, I guess. I don't know. I don't keep up with game sales lately, but, you know, maybe today that might be considered more of a failure. But back in the 80s, you get a game that sells 4 million copies. Hardly failure, dude. Hardly. So try again. Just because you don't like the game, perhaps. I mean, that's your right to your opinion. But, yeah. Highly unlikely that Nintendo regrets making this game with how many times they've re-released it over the last, 15 years since the Wii? The first first console with the virtual console that they had? Anyway, point made, moving on. By the way, hello, how are you? Last time I finished level 2, Medoro or whatever palace, or sometimes referred to as Swamp Palace, depending on what source of information you're looking up. Now, last time we went to the village, also went to the village of Mido, who I still don't know how he got a town named after him, providing that theory that fans like to cling to is true. But anyways, ask Error of Ruto about the palace, somebody said. So, didn't do that earlier because, well, one, I don't need it. I've played this game so many times I know where I'm going. But anyways, just for playthrough purposes, since he's referring to level 3, I still had level 2 to go through yet. Wait a minute. Error of Ruto is back the first screen of town. Looks like Bagu. Well, kind of misleading. Yes, there is a tunnel south of the King's Tomb, but what's potentially misleading about this is the King's Tomb, quote unquote, is not in the town of Mido. I don't know if they just ran out of dialogue box space there, since most of the dialogue just uses those short little rectangular. They don't really expand on that. So, I don't know if they just ran out of dialogue box space or what. But should have said something to the effect of King's Tomb south of Mido. Or King's Tomb near Mido, or something to that effect. The reason I point that out is because me, being the boneheaded gamer that, well, frick, who am I trying to kid? In some regards, I still am to this day. Even though I'm much older now, I can still be quite boneheaded in figuring out new games. Let's not kid myself, much less anybody else who may be listening to this. But anyway, back then, I took that clue a little too seriously and spent way too much time actually looking in the village of Mido for this King's Tomb. Like, okay, where is it? I don't see nothing that even... Oh, is it that building up there in the... of course, it helped me find the jump, or not, the downward stab, I guess. Because, hey, King's Tomb, oh, there's a cross there. That must be the King's Tomb there. No, down, jump. When you jump, press down to stab. What's this? Oh, well, that's not what I was looking for, but that might be helpful. Yeah, just... And to be honest, that was so long ago, I don't even remember how I eventually did find out where the thing really is. I think I was just blindly walking around outside or something. Would say grinding, but I don't think I've ever been crazy enough to try grinding in the graveyard areas, because you end up losing most of your experience points because of all those eyes that fly around sporadically stealing your experience. Grinding there would not be a good idea. You lose more points than you gain. And I need to pay attention. Too busy talking and not watching what I'm doing. Half dead already. Luckily, Potion Lady is right here. At least that's what I call her anyways. I mean, don't even get me started on the ages old gag involving her and that whole health recovery situation in this game. Funny at first, like I said in the first video. It can be funny at first, but like any gag, any joke, it gets old quick. And especially with that, when you see it in so many videos related to this game, yeah, it gets old quick indeed. And anyways, yeah, so I don't know how I figured this out on my first playthrough. But there's the tunnel. And you're obviously, even with the jump spell, you're not getting up there. So, yeah. Fairy! One of the few times where you actually have to use the fairy. Beyond just the convenience of being able to fly through locked doors, if you don't have a key and don't feel like backtracking to find the key, just use the fairy spell and go right through the door without one. Which I'm sure I will be doing at least once or twice in this playthrough. Haven't yet so far, but I'm sure in one of the later dungeons there'll come a time when I'll want to know, screw it, let's just use the fairy spell. Anyway, notice like the first game before it, each dungeon is slightly different colored in terms of background art. Yeah, as long as they don't have that frickin' white colored one like levels 8 and 9 in the first game were. That got kind of repulsive to look at by the time you were done with that dungeon. I don't know, maybe it was just me, maybe I'm just being too picky, but still. Oh, who? How am I missing? I suck. Low heartbeat already? Damn. Oh, not the experienced thieves again. Oop, that. Oh, goody. Trying to roast me. Okay. Need that. Actually, you know what? Stab you in the head. Well, not that way, I won't. Shoot, I don't have. See, can I maybe get a magic jar? Nope. How about from you? Nope, no such luck. Oh, great. I am so dead. Fine. Let's just get through this. Well, or not. Jesus. Those little things do that much damage? Of course, I guess it wasn't too much. I was almost, there was hardly any. Yeah, never mind. My life meter was pretty much depleted. I can't believe I just did that. See? See what I mean about being an airhead? Yeah. Way to waste half of my magic. Casting the life spell needlessly. Oh, I'm obviously not doing so good here, but... Oh, no you don't. Nice try, though. Oh. Still got one life left after this. I don't think I'll make it through this dungeon this trip. Probably end up, the way I'm going, probably end up getting a game over. So, yeah. Just go get the dungeon item at least. Oh, come on. Make up your mind where you're going. Of course, this room would be a good candidate for the fairy spell. Just fly across the room, bypassing all this crap. But I think the developers thought of that. Because they put these blocks here so that you can't just get through the screen in fairy form. So that you can't slice through these blocks that way. Designer sadism. Well, not really, as this screen ain't too bad, but still. select the right spell this time. Oh goody, the blue ones. I hate these ones. Damn, they still take a lot of hits even at attack level 5. Alright, well at least I got to the dungeon item. So next time, after getting the almost inevitable game over, I have the option of either coming back here to finish where I left off, or going on to the next area using my newfound raft, coming back here later. Which, to be honest, I used to do that a lot when I play the game. Since you get a free level up for every crystal you put back in place, I'd grind for the smaller levels that didn't take as many experience points, saving the bosses and the crystals for later. And when I got to the last 5 levels that take like 4,000 or 5,000 experience points each, that's when I put the crystals back in place, finishing the dungeons, and using that free experience level for the more costly level ups. At least I used to do it that way for quite a while, actually. But since again, like right now, if I die, no one says I have to come right back here and finish what I started here. Like I was just saying, I could use my raft and explore the other side of the world map. You can come back here at any time from here on out. Same with like level 2 with the glove. Go in there just long enough to get the item, and then okay, I'll be back here, and I'll be back here later. Oh, that's right. Since I didn't kill him, since I just pushed him into the lava, he respawns. Forgot about that. Laugh it up, Ganon. Actually, in this case, I'm laughing right along with you. Come on, you saw that. That death was laughable. Alright. Well, like I said, I could bypass the rest of level 3 and go exploring the west or eastern side of Hyrule. But I'm not going to. Finish what I started there first. Would rather get into these enemy combat zones here than in the desert, or in the graveyard rather. This is the desert. In the graveyard where you have those eyes that fly around randomly and steal your experience each time they hit you. Granted, I don't have much experience for them to steal, but still. Yeah, I only have, well now 14 points, but, or 17. When did I get, never mind. Okay. Oh, okay, go pick that. Or is it getting all those boomerangs anyway? Of course, I usually get that from this side, so that way if it does turn out to be an Iron Knuckle, he gets pushed back that way, and if I don't feel like dealing with him, I can just go into the dungeon and ask, screw you. Whereas if I did that from the other side, well, I suppose I could just leave the dungeon entirely and reset, but, Nope! Man, I'm just really out to embarrass myself today. Yeah, see what I mean? But yeah, I still now it doesn't matter since I bungled it so badly. I need that now, so there, that's better. Alright, well, now since I have the raft, well, once I get to that specific fork in the road, don't need to bother going that way. And I'm not going to bother killing every enemy, because if all goes well, I'll be defeating the boss here and getting that free level up anyways. And highly unlikely that I'm going to be getting nearly 2,200 experience points from the enemies in this dungeon anyway. Even if I did go around killing anything I saw, I don't think it will add up to 2,200 in total before the boss for that free level, for that level up there. I mean, it's possible, I suppose. Like if I grinded on those frickin' base statues, whatever the heck they're supposed to be, that randomly and eternally respawn, 5 experience points each. Oh, sorry, I haven't even made it to that screen yet on this playthrough. But anybody that's played the game before knows what screen I'm talking about, I'm sure. One of the more potentially annoying screens of the dungeon, because of how quickly those dang things respawn. And yes, you can make these jumps without the jump spell, but why am I wasting magic points? I'm an idiot. I just like using it, just... Yeah. I don't think you... Well, actually, I think you might be able to make this one, but I very seldomly seem to be able to do that without a jump spell. Of course, I don't have to go that way anymore now. Or that way, since I have the raft now. Yeah, those things are the ones I'm talking about. Respawn. Very annoying. But you could... There is one screen where you could take advantage of that and grind for experience from them, but I don't know if that'd be worth it for just 5 experience points each one. Another one? Man, out of all the decades of playing this game, you'd think I'd be better against those iron knuckles. Kind of sad, really, how many times I've played and replayed this game since 1989. You'd think I'd be as good against those iron knuckles as some people like YouTuber Nintendo Capri Sun or YouTuber HC Bailey are against them. No, not me. Again, kind of sad, really. Get you out of the way. Yeah, this screen, these things, keep respawning. Can be very annoying. And now for the final stretch. Die. That's all. 100 fine. Oh, great. Dang it, he saw me. Shit. Being tag teamed here. Oh great, I'm only gonna have one shot against the boss. Providing I even make it that far. Good, I don't think that blue one over there saw me this time. Get out of my way. Back off. Go away. Okay. Well. Shield. Don't want the jump spell, not here. Got enough for one use of the life spell. This probably isn't going to end well, but at least let's give it a try. But why did I try that? Oh, what? How did that not work? Because you can't do it there. Okay, never mind. Oh, shit. And now he's just a standard blue air knuckle. Except for he likes to hide at the edge of the screen, so try to stop him from doing that if you can. Or defeat him fast enough. Dang, I suck at this. Ah, frick it. Kill me! Be back here with more health. Yeah. Again, luckily I never said this was going to be a no-death playthrough. Frick, I'd have been proven wrong right from the start. Alright, well. Okay. Alright. Well, just been doing some grinding here in Death Mountain. Which, you know, there are other places, if you do at all. There are other places to grind in this game, but I mean, you can usually net anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 experience points from one trip through, or 25 to 3,000, somewhere around there, for a round trip. You know, starting in Surya and ending up here on the way to Mito, and then going back the other way in reverse, as I am now. Going from Surya to Mito and then back to Surya again, so to speak, there and back again. You get nearly 3,000 experience points, so... Again, there are more efficient ways of grinding if you choose to do so at all, but this is just where I've always done so, at least for this part of the game. Before going to the eastern half of Hyrule. Anyways, Water Town of Surya. 1,828 experience points in total out of 3,500. Of course, I mentioned this as I played through Death Mountain a couple videos ago now. But yeah, fan theory that the world map, as you see here, is a scaled down version of the first game's world map. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could kind of say that, like I was saying. Like Dragon Quest II, of course, obviously, you know, they even have the Cantagel Castle by name and Dragon Lord's Castle, so obviously it's not just fan theory there, it's actually obvious that the part of Dragon Warrior 2's world map is the first game's revisited. So, not too far of a stretch to assume that this is, and it does kind of check out locations-wise. I mean, the double lake levels 1 and 4 were... 1 was across the bridge going west or left, and 4 was going north, needing the raft. Yeah, so I can see that. Anyways, as you can see, back through Death Mountain, 3,600 experience, 1,800 more since last time. So, again, it's probably not the most convenient way of level grinding. I'm sure there's other, you know, of course, again, as some people will tell you, you don't have to grind at all. But yeah, those are usually the people that are either you know, they don't have to grind because they're so good at the game because they played it so many times they can, you know, like I don't remember the name, but there was one person I saw do a playthrough of almost the entire game at attack level 1. I mean, yeah, of course, you don't need to grind. You're that good at the game. But, yeah. Or people that, you know, don't want to grind, but that they want to complain about how difficult the game is. And yes, I know, I've heard the argument ages and ages ago that it's a Zelda game. It's not supposed to be about level grinding. Well, partially true, yes. No other Zelda game would have that aspect of gaming, true, but still, this one does, so, yeah. And again, like I said in video 1, I kind of like that they changed things up a bit. I mean, if you're just doing the same thing game after game, why bother making new games? Just let the fans replay the same ones again, over and over again. You know, I mean, if all you're doing is rehashing Ocarina of Time, you know, which a lot of Majora's Mask is, but at least they realize they have to have their own ideas in there too. So. But yeah, I mean, therein I kind of disproved my case because yeah, you can take experiments a little too far and come up with something too different, I suppose. But again, another thing that I forgot to mention until just now, you know, at the time when they made this game, there was no real, you know, set precedence as to what a Zelda game should entail. There was no so-called standard formula or all these terminologies that fans cling to today. You know, the Zelda tradition, Zelda tradition, and all that didn't exist yet then. You know, they made the first game. They wanted the second game to be a little different, so you get what I'm now playing through. Then they, you know, decided to go back to the first game, which they did with like Castlevania. You know, the first game established the franchise. Castlevania 2 was a big departure from the formula of the first game. Then they kind of went back to the first game with Castlevania 3. You know, yeah. Zelda is in that same mold. But the next game, A Link to the Past, they went back to the ideas of the original. Same with, well, the American Super Mario canon, Part 1, established the franchise. Our Part 2, which was Doki Doki Panic reskinned, blah blah blah, middle fingers, middle fingers, middle fingers, middle fingers, blah blah blah, was totally different. Then they went back to the original with 3. And yeah, middle fingers to the whole Doki Doki argument. That's another one that I'm so sick of hearing. like the original Japanese Mario 2 was really inventive, really creative either. Just repackaging the leftover deleted levels from the first game and daring to call it a sequel. Oh wow, real creative there. So yeah. Either way, Super Mario 2 could have been a little more original if you really want to look at it. Yeah, for America they just reskinned a completely different game and called it a Mario game. Sure, fair enough. But in Japan, all they did was take the leftover levels from the first game and, call it a sequel, when in reality it was Mario 1.5, not Mario 2. So either way, fans got gypped with the Mario sequel, Super Mario 2, regardless of what side of the Pacific Ocean you lived on in the 80s. You got screwed for a Mario sequel. Wasn't until Mario 3, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I've heard that so many times before, I'm sick of it. Besides that, like I said in the earlier video, the first time I mentioned that, if you lived in North America in the 1980s, unless you had some connection, because there was no internet yet then, so unless you knew somebody that lived in Japan, or somehow had subscriptions to Japanese magazines that could read Japanese language, otherwise you had no idea that Doki Doki Panic even existed. So yeah. That information didn't come available until the internet caught on and gamers started posting web gaming information on the web, as did companies. Kind of around the time the Zelda timeline came out. I know I've already talked about that too, but yeah. But like I said then, I'm sorry. The Zelda timeline is interesting, an interesting idea, don't get me wrong. I have both books, Hyrule Historia and the Zelda Encyclopedia, so yeah, the Zelda timeline is interesting, I give you that. But I seriously doubt they had any of that in mind as they were making these first few games. I highly doubt that as they were making this game, the conversations in the boardrooms were, hey, these games are a result of these games are a result of what happens when Link loses to Ganondorf, not Ganon, but Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time. Yeah, what's Ocarina of Time? That game is still a decade away yet. Right. Seriously doubt that very much. The timeline is just something they concocted as they were making the legendary game that was to become Ocarina of Time. I mean, hasn't anybody else ever found it ironic how all 4 games that predate Ocarina just got heartlessly dumped into the Fallen Hero timeline branch? Again, I highly doubt that was their mindset as they were making those games originally. Yeah. Anyway, just a few more points to gain as I ramble on about things. I did remember. Okay, I did. Never mind, I was just thinking out loud. I did remember to unpause my video. Not just sitting here talking to no one. Not even the viewers without the video running, recording. Alright. Okay. Anyways. Little game over reset so I could save my game. I mean, yes, it is possible to do so. Well, not here, but like the first game before it, push the start button to bring up the inventory menu, and then from it push select, or no, push up and A on the second player control to bring up the continue, save, retry screen, and from there save your game instantly, It is possible to do that even in this game, but I don't have a second player control, let alone have one hooked up, so yeah, I can't do that. So I had to go up to that cave there where you got the trophy for the jump spell earlier, and conveniently jump into the lava to bring up that screen, but man, save my game. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, like I was saying, I like the timeline as much as anybody else, but yeah, there's no way you're gonna get me to believe they had it in mind from day one. They didn't come up with it until around the time they were making the near masterpiece that was to become Ocarina of Time, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, at least where I lived, I mean, granted, I can't speak for everyone in the entirety of the United States of America, but where I lived in the Farmington, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul suburban areas of Minnesota, where I lived back then, nobody, and I do mean nobody, was talking timeline. Throughout the entirety of the 80s and early into the 90s, the talk around schoolyard, school buses and lunchrooms and whatnot was more about what secrets you'd found, what levels you'd made it through, stuff like that. Nobody was talking timeline yet then. Again, I can't speak for everybody in the entire United States of America or north of the border in Canada. Might have been different there, I guess. But anyway, enough said about that. There's just no way they had it in mind from day one, like some people will have you believe. I mean, yeah, sure, Anuma had said something to that effect. But with all due respect to him, I mean, he's made some great games in his own right, don't get me wrong. The aforementioned Ocarina of Time, Minish Cap, pretty much everything Sentinel. He's made some great games, to be sure, yes. But with all due respect to him and his career, what would he know about it? He wasn't there for the making of the first 4 games. He didn't join the Zelda team until Ocarina of Time. Around the time they did come up with the timeline. So yeah, for him, the timeline had always been a part of the... Since he joined the team around the time it was made in the first place. Anyway, enough said about that. Just something that I'm sick of hearing about, this obsession that they always had a timeline in mind from day one. Again, then why is this game at the arse end of it? The last game in timeline placement, except for maybe Breath of the Wild. Anyways, moving on. Sorry for my rambling, but I just have this bad habit of when something bothers me, I like to talk about it. Maybe talk a little too much. I give you that. Talk too much to the point of rambling and ranting. But yeah. Alright, let's give this dungeon another try after having raised a couple levels all around. I mean, it was suggested in the instruction manual that came with the game. I think it was there. Or was it that friggin' Ultimate Player's Guide that they used to sell separately that had some info on a good majority of the NES games that existed up to that point in time. One of the two. Somewhere it was suggested that you be at level 6 all around, attack, magic, and life. For this dungeon and its boss. Again, suggested, not necessarily required. There's obviously people that can play the game at attack level 1. You gotta be really dang good at the game to do that. And if you can, hey, salutations, my friend. Regardless of how many times I've played this game, I could never do that. I don't have the patience for that. The kind of challenge that would bring. Fighting some of the bosses, especially the later ones, at attack level 1. Holy crap. Anybody that can do that legitimately without some kind of cheats is truly a game master. Salutations to you, my friend. See, that's why I just like using the jump spell there. Makes it easier. You can make those jumps without it, yes, but... Especially now that the jump spell is only 16 points, 1 bar of magic on your meter there. Not like at the start of the game when it was, what, 48? when you first got him. Well, of course, that depends on if you did any grinding to raise your magic levels right away, or if, like you chose attack instead. I've been over there. Yeah, okay, that's right. I was all the way. Died at the boss the last time. And I didn't really worry about that points bag there. Wait for him to turn around so he don't see me. Bad enough I have to deal with one of these guys in such narrow spaces. But to have him throwing his blades at me from behind as I'm trying to focus. That can be done, but it's also so annoying being tag teamed from both sides. Anyways, now shield spell. Again, you could use the jump spell, but I would highly advise against it because it'll throw off your timing and what you got to do here. Which I usually always do. Yeah. The first case of at least the first that I could think of, case of the downward stab being required. Not just a nice thing to have to make certain enemies more easy to defeat. But you couldn't defeat this boss without it. At least not this phase. Okay, oh no you don't. You ain't hiding back there behind, off screen where I can't hit you. Gotcha. Yeah. After raising a couple attack levels. Again, the game is going to be difficult later on, regardless of what, you could be maxed out at level 8 all around, and there's still going to be difficult parts of the game, so. I'm not saying leveling up is the all-conclusive answer to any difficulty issues you'll face. Just wouldn't hurt, though. Unless you're one of those people that are... I'm trying to remember who that was. Somebody on YouTube that I saw do a playthrough of the game at attack level 1 through most of it. I want to say YouTuber known as Nintendo Capri Sun. I think it was him. Either on his YouTube channel or on his Twitch channel. One of the two. But anyways, you gotta be really good at the game, like I said before, to be able to do that. Holy crap. Anyway, let's get out of this graveyard. By the way, if you're looking at Zelda games, in the timeline as we know it today, that's a huge graveyard. Even in Ocarina of Time, where they had the so-called war in the game's pre-game events, there's no graveyards that size. I mean, you have the graveyard at Kakariko Village, but that's a very small thing in contrast to this. Yeah. Was there some war here? So many people buried here. They don't really specify that in the game's backstory in this one, unlike Ocarina of Time. Anyways, now that I have the raft, of course this was the last Zelda game, well, that I'm aware of anyway. Granted, I have played, what was that, the Four Swords games, but only briefly since they're multiplayer for the most part, and I'm not a big fan of multiplayer games, or online games. I mean, I know there's a lot of gamers who love both, and that's fine. Just online games, you know, what if you can't get online, or your online connection sucks? The game is multiplayer. Well, what if you can't get anybody that wants to play the game with you at that point in time? Yeah. So, anyways, mindless reference number 5. Or at least it will be when you get around to Ocarina of Time, made some decade later. Oh, what was the... Yeah, okay, we use that name as a village. Let's use it as a sage now. We use that name as the name of a village. Let me rephrase that. Anyways, with boots I could walk on water. Okay. Of course. And never mind. Replenish life. Talk to her to get the magic I just used back. Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone out there thought that whole thing about, I lost my mirror, and you look under the table to find it, you know, when that house was, what, a few steps away? She could have just walked there herself to find it? Anybody that thought that was ridiculous, well, you're right, that was ridiculous. But, get a load of this crap. I am thirsty. Well, good for you. Just, what, let's see. 1, 2, 3, no, never mind, I'm not going to count them all. No more than 20 steps from her front door. Yeah. Really? You are lazy. Yeah. Talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel for fetch quest ideas for this one. Holy crap. Yeah, the fire spell someone else earlier hinted at. Back in the first town of the game, I think it was. If all else fails, use fire. Well, now you can actually do that. And there will be a few enemies, none that you absolutely have to defeat, but still, nevertheless, there will be a few enemies that you can only kill with the fire spell. But again, those are enemies that you can just as easily avoid, so yeah. Oh, there's Potion Lady. Anyways, other than talking to people for hints, which actually I want to do that. There's a couple things I want to elaborate on. Durenia. Okay, we haven't been there yet. That's north of here. Before the islands. Well, you could do that, as there is a point in that, but that should have been, you know, something to the effect of see a man in Durenia before going to the next dungeon. But yeah, something to that effect. And I think that might have been what they were trying to go for. But with such little dialogue boxes, eh, I don't know why they couldn't have had just multiple dialogue screens. You know, hit B again or hit A again to go to the next screen, have more text there. Not like the NES couldn't have handled that. Final Fantasy games or Dragon Warrior games did that. Multiple dialogue boxes in one conversation. Would have cleared up some of the vague directions in this game had they done that. And again, I'm kind of mixed on that. I mean, I hate that games these days overly coddle you to the point of patronizing and insulting your intelligence and telling you to the exact pixel on your in-game map where you gotta look, rather than letting you, just giving you a little shove in the right direction, so to speak, and letting you figure it out on your own. So, games these days are a little too hand-holdy in my opinion. But I can see the point, some games of old are a little too cryptic. But I can't say I grew up on them. I was 16 by the time. So yeah, again, kind of divided on that argument. Cryptic games versus hand-holdy games. The devil eats those who are weak. Yeah, some of the religious people I knew back at the time had a field day with this. The river devil? Yeah, who is the river devil? And why is he called the devil? And yeah, again, some of the religious people I knew who I won't mention by name, they probably don't even remember me now anyway, now all these decades later. But just like that comment, that statement earlier about with boots I could walk on water. I knew a couple people who were like, oh, that's so blasphemous. Like, well, maybe so, but who cares? It's only religion after all. Get over it. I'm working on it. Save your town from what? Your town doesn't look like it needs any saving. Unlike, what was that? Frickin' the water town of Syria, where you had those so-called Eyes of Ganon. Pete talked to them and they turned into bats. That town kind of needed saving, at least from those. But this town looks fine to me. Anyways, we have our fire spell. I know there was at least one other person who said something potentially useful in this town. Was it you? Oh no, you're the one that said you could walk on water, yeah. Yeah, okay. Or maybe it was in the next town you stop at. Okay, you're the lazy lady. Whine about being thirsty when there's a fountain so close to your house. Okay. You know, all the NPCs just walking by, they don't have much to say. I cannot help you, or I know nothing. Yeah. Okay, maybe it was in the next town. I already talked to you. Okay, I already talked to you. What? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, okay, good for you and your river devil. Okay, it must have been in the next town. By the way, the river devil they're talking about is that little black thing that looks like a spider down there at the bottom of the screen. Well, had these Tektites, one of the enemies that you need the fire spell to kill. That thing down there, that's the river devil that people talk about. Blocks the next part of the world map, where the final two dungeons are. Need a specific item to make that thing disappear. where's Potion Lady in this town? No, you're the magical. No, you're the lazy one. There's Potion Lady. Okay. Now, actually, let me get back out of town first. Now that you have the fire spell, the Tektites here can be a little annoying. Of course, that's Tektites. They were annoying in the first game too. They can kind of somewhat, to a small degree, be annoying in any game they're in, like Ocarina of Time along Death Mountain Trail. Of course, they're more so here as they move around too quickly. Very hard to... Okay, stop! 50 experience points each. Plus, since they give you more than 30, if and when they do drop a points bag, it'll be a 200 one. So yeah, if you can always go back to town. Of course, in this case, the potion person is way back, quite a few, a couple screens back, so it's quite the walk. Not like back in Mido, where the Potion Lady was right there by the start of the town, or even in the town of Ruto, where I did that first round of level grinding to get to attack level 2 at the start of the first video. Yeah. Point being, those Tektites, although highly annoying, could be a potential grinding, or this could, well, you know what I mean. I suck at explaining things sometimes. Potential grinding spot here, especially since it's so close to the village. Anyways, moving on. Just thought I'd point that out for anyone. Oh shoot. Alright, well let's end the video here. Explore this eastern Hyrule next time. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with my sometimes annoying ranting and raving and sounding like an idiot. As I tend to do that a lot in these videos. Watching some of the old videos, I suddenly realize that. I sometimes even cringe at myself. Anyways, yeah. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time. Bye.